Hi guys, my name is Zach and today we're going to be talking about a Mark 7.5 Volkswagen Golf GTI. But first let's jump back into the 1970s where Volkswagen felt like they needed a new model in their lineup because they needed something fresh. You know, at the time the Volkswagen Beetle was around 70 years old. So they needed a new family economy car that would take over from the Beetle. And they got together, so Volkswagen got together with Giugiaro and his firm Ital Design, and they designed the Mark 1 Volkswagen Golf. It was launched in 1974 and it was popular, but it was still being sold alongside the Volkswagen Beetle. So at the time, the marketing director, Anton Conrad, felt that the Volkswagen Golf needed to sell more numbers. It needed to sell more than the Volkswagen Beetle. So he came up with an idea of making a fast Golf. Volkswagen at the time didn't like that idea. They felt like it wouldn't sell enough numbers. But Anton felt like he had to do it anyway. So he got together with a team of 6 and they put a 1.6 litre 4-cylinder inline inside a Golf that produces 110 horsepower. It was launched in 1975 and it was an amazing hit. It was the birth of the king of hot hatches. As then we got the Mark II, the Mark III, the Mark IV, the Mark V, the Mark VI, the Mark 7, the Mark 7.5, and then we got the Mark 8. And it's always been the king of hot hatches. So it was the birth of the king. But the Volkswagen Mark IV was a really big turning point for Volkswagen at the time because they felt like they needed to cut some manufacturing costs, and the way to do it would be, you know, basically share components with their models and their brother-sister brands. So Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda, and Seat basically started sharing components and design features. So they could, you know, start using the same engines, the same chassis, all in their models lineups. And it was basically the beginning of what Volkswagen does today, because now basically the MQB platform was basically in all their model lineup. Like, this is an MQB platform. And at the time, Ulrich Hackenberg had lots of experience with this because they already did it with the Bentley Continental and the Volkswagen Phaeton. So it was a no-brainer. They went ahead with that. So for me, I find the Volkswagen Mark IV was a big turning point for Volkswagen because they still managed to offer a really good quality product and they could still save money. But it was also good for the end buyer because there was loads of R&D and development in that process, because it's not the same thing designing components for one model of car than if you basically designed it for a whole model lineup. It's a win-win situation. The company saved money and the end buyer got a really good quality product for a decent price. The Mark 7 was launched in 2012. It was originally designed by Walter da Silva and his team, and the Mark 7.5 was launched in 2017, where it was basically a facelifted version of the Mark 7. So the 7.5 got some design updates. So basically on the front bumper on the Golf GTI, we've got these air intakes, and on the normal 7, it didn't have this plastic bit that wrapped around it. This is only a feature that comes on the 7.5. The entertainment screen, the radio, got an update as well. So on the 7.5, it has a few more touchscreen features instead of push button. And then also on the 7.5, at a later date, you could opt for it with a digital cockpit. So it's basically a digital dash. This model has that feature. With some design features, like I said earlier, these are the front plastic add-ons. This current model has parking sensors on the front, parking sensors on the rear. One thing I need to point out is these wheels are actually a replica of the Volkswagen Golf GTI Mark 8. This model of wheel was only sold in 19-inch. These are actually 18s because they're aftermarket ones. We have on them, this tyre size is 225, 40, 18, and we have Dunlop Sport Max RT2 all round. The 7.5 gets the anti-crash sensor inbuilt behind the Volkswagen logo. The Mark 7 has it down here in the grille, so it's basically got a cutout with the sensor built in. It looks much better like this. Also, the 7.5 gets these bigger tailpipes. Before, if I remember correctly, on the Mark 7, they were a little bit smaller. Take a look at the interior. This model comes with the Clark Plaid interior cloth seats. Some people don't really like it, so they opt for the leather. Some people also call this fabric tartan. And this model comes with a nice leather wrapped steering wheel. This model also has a DSG automatic gearbox, which is an amazing gearbox. If you haven't tried one, you need to try it. It changes so fast, it's hard to believe. Sometimes in traffic, they're a little bit juddery, but it's very minimal. It more than makes up for it with how fast it does change gear. But yeah, this model has, so the 7.5 comes with this different entertainment screen. And this model has a digital cockpit, which is quite nice. It's quite a nice feature. Boot space is 380 litres, so it's enough for 4 people to go away. Legroom is very decent. I'm 1.83 m, give or take, and I fit perfectly in behind these seats, even in my driving position, which I like to sit quite far back. This model also has black headliner. Got some LED lighting here at the bottom next to your feet, and some LED lighting running across the top. Engine, so this is a 2-litre direct injection. This actual model does come with a DPF filter. The earlier ones didn't have that. One other small thing is that not many people know, lots of people do, but there is people out there that don't know. The coolant on these cars comes with a thing called MIT Silicat, which is basically a silicon bag that goes inside the expansion tank, but it's a bit dangerous because if that bag breaks, these silicon little balls can go all through the system and clog up your water pump. So there's a way around that. You basically buy a new expansion tank without the silicon bag inside it, and you need to flush all the old coolant out and put new coolant, which is basically a G12 Evo or G12 Plus, they call it also. So we've got the Golf GTI up on this. Let's take a look at the undercarriage. What we'll do is we'll start at the front and work our way back. So we'll start with the suspension arms. Suspension arms on the Golf GTI are basically made out of stamped steel. So it's not a special aluminium or, you know, a fancy suspension arm, but modern cars seem to do it this way now, but it does do a good job. It handles really well. Front brake calipers are a single piston caliper that are fitted to a 340mm brake disc. Because it's such a big piston caliper, even though it's a single, it does do, you know, does do a good job on stopping the car. I guess if you had to track the car or you drive it hard regularly, you might end up warping the discs because it doesn't dissipate heat as well. You know, if you've got a bigger brake, it dissipates the heat better. So, you know, it's always gonna, if you're gonna track it, you might need to upgrade that. One little small thing that's quite interesting that some of you might not know, but Volkswagen fit these plastic sumps to these cars, and every time you change oil, you've got to change the plastic nut or screw. So just keep that in mind. Every time you change oil, you need to order the nut as well. Let's move on to the rear. So on the rear, we have a single piston caliper as well. That's electric handbrake that you can see there, but it's basically fitted to a 310mm brake disc. And then on the rear, we have multi-link rear independent suspension. On the Mark 7, 7.5s, on the base model, so the lower spec engine ones, you actually have this with a fixed solid beam suspension. But on the GTI, you get this as standard. Let's go for a quick spin in this Mark 7.5 Golf GTI. So, seating position, as always, is what we start with. Feels really comfortable. I'm going to go down to the lowest position, which is there. Feels very nice, very snug. The seats aren't they don't feel like bucket seats, but they do grab you quite nicely. There's quite a nice sporty seat that you could use every day. First impressions of the interior, it's a very nice place to sit. Obviously nowadays they use quite a lot of plastic everywhere. There's no, soft touch materials. It feels quite pleasant, even though it is hard plastic. Personally, I don't really miss soft touch plastics. I do think these sort of feel okay, and in the long run they wear better. But it's also a very hot day, so aircon is on. And let's start off by seeing how the steering feels. Obviously it's hard to say at the moment, but any minimal movement, I do feel that the car does respond straight away. Like the steering rack really does respond as soon as you give it the tiniest bit of input. If you want to stomp on the throttle, make sure the oil level's up to operating temperature, anywhere in between 95 and 100 before you really do start going for it. This oil temperature now is at 105. We'll see if it goes down or if it goes up. Yeah, it really feels reassuring how it goes around the corners. So this is a 2-litre direct injection with 245 horsepower. The first Golf GTI's Mark 7s came out with 230 horsepower, and then the Performance got 245. But in 2019, when the TCR model came out, they ditched the 230 option and the 245 version became the base model. So what we have here is a 2019 build year, and it's basically the base model with 245 horsepower. But some people do call it the Performance because the first Mark 7, if it had 245 horsepower, was the Performance. It also has a limited slip differential, but this limited slip differential is not a conventional one. So Volkswagen designed one that has some like a clutch pack in it, and it also works with hydraulic fluid. So the brakes on these are a single piston. I have been told that if you do track the car, they do warp the discs quite easily. This car we have Dunlop RT2s all round, so it's a very good tyre. It's a ultra high performance tyre, but also a tyre that you can use every day. Now I'm gonna stomp on the throttle, little bit of wheel spin, but it puts the power down really nicely. DSG box is amazing how it changes and goes down a gear as well. It's just instant. Really does grip. This chassis is very good. And it's a nice place to be. If you're looking for a car that, you want a car that can do everything well, a Golf GTI, you just can't go wrong with it. You want a car that's fast, reliable, looks quite nice, and handles really well. This is a very good option. Also with the 5-door version, like this one here, you can still pick up family, you can still go for dinner, still pick up the kids from school. So it's, a win-win situation really. I must admit, I've got a soft spot for Volkswagen Golfs. My first car was a Volkswagen, actually my second car was a Volkswagen Golf Mark 4, and I've had 2 Mark 5 Golf R32s. I had one with a DSG box, a DSG 6, and I've also had a manual one. The DSG box is a very good gearbox, and the manual car I did enjoy. Because I wasn't using it on a daily basis, I didn't mind it being manual. Yeah, brakes feel good. They do stop the car, but I must admit it's a very fast car. So if you are the type of person that will drive it fast on a daily basis, which is very easy to do because it's effortless, you might find that the brakes aren't quite enough. Maybe I would fit some lowering springs, some H&R, just for some aesthetics. I like a car to look a little bit lower, and it just gives you slightly slightly lower centre of gravity, so it will corner a bit better. But also keep in mind, if it's lower, then you've also got to be, you know, careful on speed bumps and imperfections on the road. But yeah, we're just going on. It's 245 horsepower, really does pull. And now we're on the motorway, cruising at 110 kilometers an hour, and it's really comfortable and quiet. It's the best of both worlds. So I think if you're looking for an everyday car and you're looking to buy a Golf GTI, just do it, just get one. I think you'll be really happy with it. It's a car that does everything really well. It's not going to be the best sports car, it's not going to be the best family car, but if you only need one car that can do everything and you like driving, get a Golf GTI Mark 7 or Mark 7.5. We've got to say thank you to the Golf GTI, because thanks to the first GTI, all the other manufacturers went on board to building, you know, fast hot hatches. So that's why, for me, the Golf GTI is the king of hot hatches. I remember Jeremy Clarkson once said, the Golf GTI is the type of car that you can go to the ghetto in and you'd still be respected. And you could also go to a 5-star hotel and they'll still walk out and open the door for you. It's a GTI.